Hey everybody, welcome to Love and Reload, the voice of the relocation industry. I am your host, Ben Cross, and I'm so blessed and honored to be here with my friends, Wiebe van Bockel from Voerman Group. How you doing, Wiebe?
I'm doing well, Ben. Nice to meet you.
It's so good to have you here live in Dallas, Texas, Global HQ, all the way from where?
We're from the Netherlands.
From the Netherlands. That's like so far, it's like real, that's close to Holland, right?
That's the same.
Okay,
so,
okay. You got to help me out.
No, we need to help Americans.
Yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Close to Paris.
Bring a map. Okay, fantastic. And we got Nick Foreman here as well from Africa Mobility Services. How you doing, Nick?
Doing great.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming all the way to Texas.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Get in the comments. Let us know who you are, where you are, what the heck you're doing here today with us. We're going to take your questions. We're going to be talking about Africa. We're going to talk about succession planning and family businesses. We're going to talk about why it's important to be together. You know, to come to Texas, come on down, y'all. If you find yourself in the area, you know, we're very hospitable here.
Absolutely, you have a fantastic office here, Ben. So
appreciate it.
Super nice people. So come on.
Speaking of which, there's a super nice person, Adrian, checking in. What's up, Adrian? Glad to have you. Yes, thank you so much, and it's fantastic. Had a great time in Amsterdam, Adrian. Let's just keep it work safe here, Adrian. Okay. All right. Amsterdam has a reputation as a party city, but you guys also work there too, right?
Yeah. It's but Amsterdam for sure has a lot of party squad. Yeah, so a lot of energy for that. So and it's a good place for that.
Nice.
Work hard, play harder.
Yeah. Not unlike Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
So you're here. By the way, before we get started, get in the comments, hit that like button. I want to know who you are, where you are, what you're up to, what you had for lunch today. But I got to ask you, you're in Texas. What did y'all have for lunch today?
We had Tex-Mex for lunch.
Tex-Mex.
Tex-Mex, indeed.
Yeah.
Nachos.
Nachos.
Yeah,
Do you remember what you ordered? Because I love Tex-Mex. One of my favorite food.
I had fajitas.
Fajitas.
Yes.
I got a beef tortilla with loads of side dishes.
Okay. Yeah, they bring it out, don't they?
Yeah.
You're just like, Are you guys still awake? Have you had like?
No, we did it. We did it easy, and we had a light breakfast this morning. So we try to behave when traveling, because eating is killing you if you eat too much when traveling.
Tell me about it. What kind of fajitas? Beefs, chicken?
Chicken.
Okay, very healthy choice.
So this morning it's like, I want a scrambled egg. It's like, all right, you can choose 4 sides with it.
4 sides.
And okay. Well, that's my complete breakfast meal for the day. Then,
So it was difficult to get a yogurt with granola and things like that. So it's
children. Anyway, Mark and old people. Mark Oakshot says it's about time you had some A-list celebrities, Ben. Thanks, Mark. Hey, come on anytime, Mark. I've been missing you out there. That's great. Here we got Jill Guzda checking in. Excited to have you guys in office. Why do you come all the way? You got all these great things going on in the Netherlands, and you come all the way over to Texas in the middle of August. It's got to be, I don't even know how many.
That's nice. We love this temperature, Ben.
You like it?
We don't have it.
Hot. Yeah.
It's hot.
Yeah, but nice hot. It's dry heat,
It's dry heat.
I like dry heat.
Well, we have the air con here as well, the central air conditioning, which is
that makes you feel really cold.
Really cold. So you go from being hot to like sweating to like really cold, get the flu. But no, why is it important for you to be here? Come all the way. I know you didn't come just for the show. Why are you here?
No. So Nick and I are on the road for the week, and we're still believing in that personal relationships are key. And so we do travel. We keep on traveling and try to meet a lot of people. And also for Nick, the new generation is important to meet, let's say, my or our generation, but also creating his own generation. So we are also meeting a bunch of the next gen people. So important. And
Texas. A lot of people say you could do that via Zoom or Teams, or you could do webinars or your podcasts or whatever. Why do you think? What's the difference in being here?
Well, it's the initial experience you have with a physical meeting. I think in 10 years you will never recall that Zoom meeting you had.
Right.
Where you have a quick chit chat rather than having the actual, the dinner. I mean, all the dinners we had so far. And I think in 10, 20 years, we can look at the pictures and say, remember that time with the old Wiebe then being still around. Rather than
remember when people were still around in Dallas?
Yeah, no, it is. It is.
It took them out.
And, Ben, and that's how I learned the industry and how we've been growing up, and also how Nick's father came into the industry and how he was growing up, and when we were traveling, and we're a firm believer that, let's say, this industry is built on relationships and people make the difference. And And I think it's going to be more rare tomorrow than it was in the past because of constraint of budgets and cost, and people don't want to travel anymore. But I think those companies and those people who are doing it, will be there and can make a difference.
I totally agree with you, and it's so funny because when you have hard times and austere times, one of the first things that people cut is travel budgets. And it's almost like, I mean, you're cutting your revenue because those are the relationships that you rely on. And there's, there's other companies out there that do what we do. And if we're not showing up and being there in person and creating those memories and that trust like you're talking about, and I think trust comes from a familiarity. And so when we kind of get to know each other, we kind of press the flesh, we have a meal, you just really learn a lot about somebody then. I think that's really key.
Well, and I think the cost till an extent you can control. So you can make it as expensive if you want, but you can travel moderate. And for us, there on every trip we've done, you can always look back and say, that's where we had the revenue, and that's was the return on investment. And with a lot of promotion we're doing at the moment on our Africa company and on the logistics we're doing, we see the benefit already. Just being here for a day. So only positive.
And it's the way how you plan these trips. It's not a one meeting a day that I learned from Wiebe. I think this is our fifth meeting already today.
I felt special until right now. I'll be honest with you.
Well, our most important meeting.
It is the VIP meeting of the day.
But it definitely takes away the one meeting a day. Okay, then I understand that you cut the budgets, but.
Hit that like button, get in the comments. I want to know what your thoughts are on travel. I know a lot of folks right now are working from home, maybe watching this. I mean, do you miss getting out and having those face-to-face experiences, or have you been able to kind of bridge that gap with technology and everything? Let us know out there. We got Crystal checking in, Crystal Abby checking in. Hi, Wiebe and Nick. Great to see you guys. YouTube, Ben, of course. I'm always an afterthought. That's cool. I appreciate you, Crystal. Richard Majewski, hi from London town, coming in. What's up, Richard? It's good to see you there. I love being able to connect with Richard over here. All right. Well, we talked about being here in Texas, but let's jump way across the pond. Africa.
Yep.
Why was it important to start a full-blown company in Africa?
Yeah, it all started 14 years ago in Luanda, Angola.
Okay.
Where we initially started in Moscow and developed the business there. My dad spent, I think, 5 to 6 years there to grow the business. And back then, Moscow was the most expensive city in the world. And then next was Luanda, Angola. So it was okay. Then
really
makes sense. So it was already on our pipeline, and then all these things met up with people that were already there that could join us establishing.
Was there a lot of business over there in Angola at the time?
Yeah.
Did you have a particular client or something that required you being there, or what?
No, actually not. No, but there is a lot of business in terms of if you look at the oil, the mining, a little bit of the agriculture, NGOs, huge NGOs that are still there. It's surprisingly how much business there is and how much there's yet to come.
Is it a matter of there's a lot of business, or is it a matter of just having a lot of market share too?
Well, in countries like Angola, there is market share and there's not a lot of competition. So
right.
then you can take a larger share of the business. And one of the reasons we were going in was the fact that we were not happy with what we were getting at that time. It was the most expensive in the world, let's say, also from House of Good Moving. And we saw, let's say, but there was opportunistic way to move in. And indeed what Nick says, it's what we've done in Russia. We basically saw, how difficult can it be going in there. And from, let's say, opportunistic, that changed into very strategic 2 years later when we really set an Africa plan to really develop Africa as a continent and really started AMS as it is today, a full-blown company throughout Africa.
That's really fascinating. So you had partners there, but you just weren't happy with whether it's the price or the service or whatever. You said, we can go in there and actually do this better ourselves and even potentially create a differentiator.
Yeah. So for various reasons. So one of them is that we see Africa as the last continent where everything still needs to happen.
Okay.
So the developing continent. We've been traditionally from Europe. And Europe is well developed and till an extent can't grow as a market as such anymore. And we see, let's say, Africa where everything needs to be happening from logistics, from moving, the growth of the population, the growing of wealth. So there's a lot of things happening. And for us, that's very exciting to be part of that. And the other important thing for us was it's in the same time zone. So it's something, you know,
sure.
we can control, let's say, within the same time zone. So that's helpful as well.
Yeah, it plays a huge role. And what you also see is within the next 30 years, the population of Africa doubles.
Wow.
So there's a huge, huge market yet to come. All these young people, they also have a phone now. They also know what's going on in the world, and they also want it in Africa. So yeah, in terms of removal of household goods, but also the commercial and the logistics, it's really picking up.
Yeah. Get in the comments. I want to know what your questions are about Africa. What are your thoughts about, you know, economic development in the continent? Do you see this as an opportunity for your company out there? I'm really curious about where Africa is on your growth roadmap right now. We got people checking in here. Jay Hall checking in from USI Law, Business Immigration Leaders. What's up, Jay? It's good to see you, Jason. Hey, we got to get that WERC party nailed down here. Tamara Holt, hello from sunny Philadelphia. Not an Eagles fan, are you? Tamara, just let me know. Richard Majewski, travel seems continuously thwarted. We've had COVID, now Mpox. Interesting. Richard has a question about that. Will Mpox affect your growth in Africa? What do you think about that? Like when we talk about infectious diseases and pandemics and things like that, how does that affect?
Yeah, it's always, but it's always been there. So it's not new. I think for the continent, it's not new in the world, and at least in our company, it's not a main topic at the moment or so. It's something, you know, you always need to be aware of. You know, you got like dengue and other malaria and whatever. It's always been there, and you just need to be cautious, and you need to make the right protection and measurements, and then.
But also this is changing. I mean, the focus globally, the focus is on Africa. Also from a Europe point of view, I think the Netherlands in Europe is the #1 investing country in Africa.
Oh, really?
But it also comes with educating the local people on all these diseases and viruses that are going on. But sometimes we have the medicines, but the local people are not able to get those medicines.
It comes to logistics, right? I mean, that's back to us, right?
Sure.
I mean, we're part of the solution as well. I imagine.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and Africa is a country, continent on the rise. So as Nick says, it's growing and the wealth is growing, but also, you know, there were diseases, but some of them are let's say gone or are changing. You know, because of wealth globally. You know, investment from the likes like Bill Gates in his massive investments in Africa over the decades.
What's that like? I haven't heard about it.
Well, the Gates Foundation does a lot of very big projects in the scope of Africa. You know, getting polio out of the world.
Yeah, UNICEF, many NGOs that try to grow the company, the country, and the continent, and try to develop. But it's really on educating the local people there.
Is the business mix over there? Is it primarily commercial? Is it government? Is it NGO? Well, what's that business mix like? Give me a snapshot of the economy.
Yeah, but let's say Africa is not one continent which one size fits all. You know, because the continent.
That's a common problem that we all.
The USA is, let's say, can be mapped 2-3 times on size in the continent of Africa. But let's say as a nominator, you can say in any developing area, you know, it's like oil and gas is a big trigger on the West Coast. So where oil and gas starts, you know, then after that consultancy comes in, banking comes in, finance, and you know, then it takes a role. Then the economies grow, and because of the growth, you know, then all of a sudden, the big food companies are coming in, and then that's where we're seeing now. The next step is the big brands coming in. Let's say whether, you know, the McDonald's or, you know, the Marriott hotels or whatever. That's only starting at the moment, and that's gonna fast forward grow rapidly.
So that's really interesting. So you just kind of described the cycle of growth there, and starting with oil and gas, or maybe other minerals as well, and then the infrastructure that supports that. So is that kind of like when you think about where you're going to kind of land and expand from? You know, in a continent like Africa, I mean, do you start with where the minerals are, understanding that that's going to have all this other infrastructure around it?
Yeah, till an extent that happened because of starting in Angola, and Angola is really an oil and gas country, and in Congo is also very much focused on oil and gas and natural resources, and we're looking at other countries at the moment also with some other let's say profile
that already went past this cycle and that already have tourism going on, a stable government. You have many countries. People still think there's war in every country in Africa, but you have many countries
that are. It's a common misconception.
It is, yeah.
You know, I've never been to Africa. It is a common misconception. We got Balaji. What's going on? Hi, Ben. Great job you're doing. Thanks, Balaji. Balaji's you're right here in Dallas. All right, Balaji, when are we going to have you on the show? Balaji does immigration. Yeah, it'd be awesome to have you on. Richard says there'll be lots of people moving to Africa now. He said, did you see the world's second largest diamond ever was found in Botswana?
Yeah, it was in the news. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, it was massive.
You guys do a lot in Botswana? A lot of diamond.
Botswana is fantastic for safaris. So it has the big five. It has everything. Let's say, and it's a very safe country of Africa, Botswana. And I've traveled Botswana. It's really really nice and close to South Africa. So.
But I wasn't aware of the fact that they had diamonds.
Massive. I hold it up. It's like this big.
Yeah, I saw it on the television. Yeah,
he's a lucky guy right now.
Yeah, you know, we always like to do top fives, and I know you guys got a top five for me that's a little different. But I'm going to ask you, top 5 countries we should be looking at if we're sitting here. Maybe we're doing corporate housing, or maybe we're doing relocation or some sort of whatever. You know, what are maybe the top 5 countries? And I'm not going to ask you to put them in order because I'm putting you on the spot here, but you know, we do talk about the continent as kind of one place when it's so obviously not. So break it down for us. Maybe what are some? Maybe give me 5 countries to keep an eye on
in Africa.
Yeah, that we should be thinking about, you know, investing in and maybe expanding into.
Well, let me start, and then Nick for sure can take. You know, so I think Nigeria is one, just from the size of the market.
Hey, you're talking Balaji's language. He says, "Glad you guys are discussing Africa. I'm Nigerian."
Yeah,
there you go.
Balaji.
Well, I don't know the exact number, but you talk about the largest consumer market of Africa. You know,
it's Nigeria, Kenya. Those are the top players. Of course, you have South Africa, but yeah, it's an African country. But on the other side, it's not an African country. But yeah, Ethiopia is developing really fast. I think it has the 2-digit growth in economy. Yeah, you have loads.
So you got Nigeria, you got Ethiopia. I'm sorry, you got Kenya, Ethiopia, of course, South Africa.
Yeah. I would say the Congo
DRC is just also from a size and from an opportunity base. And I think if you look into the north, people always forget, but let's say Africa is also the north. So Egypt, Morocco, you know, Morocco is a country which is fast developing, you know, a lot of tourism there, a large population. So
I can name you 15 countries that are, the whole continent is interesting.
So where are you looking personally when you think about your strategy in Africa? You know, where are you looking to put offices?
Well, currently we're developing our office in Congo DRC. So for Q3, Q4, that is really on our the subject for this year. And then we are more or less looking at stable economies, stable countries where we don't have to deal with all these corruption, bribery, all these things already, where it's already stable. And then really dive into the commercial, the hotel industry and the tourism.
Sure.
But yeah, there are plenty of Namibia, Tanzania, Ivory Coast is up there. So you got plenty of countries.
Yeah, really interesting. So let me ask you though. Okay, we got Rich is asking about. He's got a few he's going to throw at you. What about Tanzania, Zanzibar? He throws some wild stuff.
Nick can talk you a lot about Tanzania because it's happening now. So.
Yeah, Tanzania is happening. Indeed, we're looking to have foot on the ground there. So indeed, also Zanzibar, which is a very nice place to spend the weekend. Trade with Middle East. It's a big thing. You see that many companies that are actually based in Africa are headquartered in Dubai or Saudi Arabia. So there's a huge correlation between those two.
And be aware of the fact that let's say China has been investing massively into the African continent. So there's also the global war or the global battle between the United States and Europe versus China is also taking place on the African continent at the moment. So you know, and China took a big step forward there over the last 2-3 decades. So something we need to look at.
Balaji saying he'd be happy to come on and talk about the possibilities in Nigeria. Balaji, we got to make it happen. Let me ask you though, what are the challenges? You know, we talk about all the opportunities out there. What are some of the challenges that you faced now in the past 14 years of kind of working in the continent?
Oh, the challenge is the bureaucracy of the government and, for example, the customs clearance. And when you thought you figured out the customs clearance process, then suddenly for this shipment you need 3 other documents. This shipment you need 4 other documents. So yeah, it all comes down to bribery and corruption at the end of the day, and unstable governments. I would say this is your biggest challenge to deal with.
Yeah, I sometimes I have a theory about this, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. I was thinking about this actually this morning, and we complain about the challenges. We complain obviously about bureaucracy. We complain about regulations, even in the United States, right? We complain about these things, but in some ways, they also build a moat around our business. They sometimes insulate us. They sometimes make us indispensable in the process and make our services more valuable because we know how to navigate these rough seas.
That's true.
That's
where you can make the difference.
Because if it was easy, everybody would do it, right?
No, I think it is, and I think there's some resilience in this industry. We're very good in creating, solutions for problems. I think this is. I always look at this industry as really problem-solving industry. We tend to, let's say, be very good in when the problems start. Then solve the problem. We're really good in that. And I think this industry has that service DNA, which is completely different than the traditional logistics industry, which doesn't have that service DNA. And I think that's really valuable. And I think if we across the industry can put it higher up into the to let's say our customer base, then people see the value we as an industry can add. And then at the end of the day, there's also reward, because going into difficult countries and finding solutions, there's much more reward to that. Financially also than doing that in established economies where it's just more a race to the bottom and trying to squeeze some margin there.
But like you said, it is an added value. There where it's more difficult, there where we can play a part and help our clients, then it's the biggest difference you can make. And that adds our value.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's really interesting. I've got some more questions too. Get in the comments here. I want to hear your questions. About the African continent, about countries in particular. I want to know your thoughts on growth there. I mean, how are you viewing the opportunity? Get in the comments. Richard says, I went to school with the owner of Zan Air. Can I introduce you guys?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
That's 100%. Yeah, let's go. Connect with these guys on LinkedIn. Richard, make a little intro. We'd appreciate it. Look at that.
Yeah, appreciate it, Richard. And it already pays off.
This is great. I want to ask you, so you talk about, kind of some of the bureaucracy, some of the challenges in some of the countries around, maybe corruption and things like that. One of the things that we always talk about here in the States is the labor pool. And we talk about how hard it is to get great people, right? How is that from both a recruitment and possibly a skills perspective at your operations in the continent? Is that a challenge or not?
I would say no, 100% not. It's
really,
you really got the talent there. You get the really ambitious local people still, true entrepreneurs, I would say, and that's also our vision. We never want to go to a country ourselves where we don't know anyone and say, hey, this is a good country. We're going to have bricks and mortar. No, we always want to partner up with a local partner and support his entrepreneurship. But you also see, because it's all these African countries like the Congo, it's very closely affiliated with Belgium and France because it's French speaking. So you have many students from Congo that do an internship in Canada, in France, in Paris, in Belgium. So they get the experience and then they want to bring it home to their mother country. So you have huge talent there.
And I think it's even the other way around. It's an opportunity, because what we see happening is recruitment from African talent into Europe at the moment. So they have skill sets, where we saw initially from South Africa, a lot of IT people coming into Europe. But we see now young people coming from Ethiopia, working for the tech companies and so on. And I think that's where a lot of recruitment will take place, because there's a hungry, high educated young force is still there. And until an extent, that's much more a challenge now for the Western world, let's say, getting those people here in the United States or in Western Europe. So we're not only recruiting in India, but more and more also in Africa.
Have you had any situations where you've been able to recruit talent from one of your African operations to come to one of your European operations?
Well, not that they stay in our European operations, but they definitely spend a couple of months to actually understand the business, the way how we do it here. but not really per se that they stay here.
But we have, let's say, training programs. We had, let's say, our Ethiopian partner send over crews to get trained in the Netherlands.
Okay.
And they really got trained on the PAC international export rep, for 2 weeks, and then we're moved back. And I think that's a way we see developing as well. That we can help develop skill sets, can help develop, let's say, how things are being done.
Is it ever a challenge to get the same type of materials that you use in your European operations there at your African operations?
Yeah, let's back to the challenges. That's one of our other challenges indeed, because that's something.
What's the hardest thing to get?
Well, everything is important, so everything is the hardest thing to you mean?
The hardest material, like the thing that you're like really.
I think you're looking at diamonds and stuff like this.
No. I'm saying packing material.
Yeah,
like
boxes or tape or.
Yeah, but that's
shrink wrap.
That's all the same because it's all important.
And all from the same provider.
Yeah, well, for Congo, for example, we bring our own packing material from the Netherlands and we ship it to the Congo, just because there's no high quality packing material in the Congo,
right.
And the stuff that is of quality in the Congo is enormously expensive.
Yeah,
because every single thing you think of Africa as being this cheap continent, but you will be surprised how expensive it is actually in the restaurants and also for packing material. It's
So do you guys start selling packing material to other movers over there? Start making a little profit margin?
That will happen, yeah.
Because we sell some packing material locally, and the interesting thing about selling it as a wholesaler is people that need packing material are definitely going to use it for some sort of transportation. So you can, it's a one plus one upselling.
The truck also, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. On a side note, you talked about our other friend from Switzerland, Mark Moos.
Yeah, I love Mark.
You have to check him because he should get on the show. But he's now really high in producing crates in Switzerland.
Really?
Swiss crates. So, sometimes also in different economies, also those type of opportunities arise. And I think you're right for Africa. I think there is opportunity, if we can have that in place to help other companies as well with the right material.
Well, it's just because the know-how is not there, but the material is there. I mean, sometimes you see that the actual trees of the packing material get cut in Congo, in the jungles.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. They will transport it to Europe or the States or wherever to make it and to craft it, and then they will ship it back.
Yeah.
So it's just the know-how isn't there.
That's really interesting. Yeah, shout out to Mark Moos, also of MW+RELO, and a great entrepreneur, great friend. Early on, Mark and Wiebe took an interest in LOVE+RELO. We're like, hey, you actually have something here. Crazy kid. Yeah, there's an idea here, and he encouraged me to really focus on it. And actually, Mark actually paid for the logo to be created.
I still remember. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I was like, Mark, I ain't got money to put in this thing. Just get a logo. Just like it's not a lot of money. Just get a logo.
That's also love, eh? So that is bringing the love.
So why is it LOVE+RELO?
So LOVE+RELO. It's a great question. Appreciate the question. So I think the best part of this industry is the people. I think that the moments and the times that we have at the conferences when we're together and we're sharing, we laugh, we cry, we get to know each other's families, we get to invest in each other's careers. I've talked to Mark's kids on FaceTime. WhatsApp, right? I've seen his son's Lego collection, things like that.
Yeah, William has a big Lego collection.
You know what I mean? It's really cool. It's like his trucks actually run. I mean, it's really cool. And so there's just like the heart of it all, right? I think that's one. And then when I went to the conferences, I had these amazing conversations, usually at the bar, usually around 10 o'clock at night over a glass of wine or something. And I'm like, this is the real valuable part of this to me, more so even than some of the stuff that was done in the learning sessions, which I didn't really feel like went deep enough. They kind of gloss over things. Yeah. And we're sitting there in the audience and we're experts and they're telling us stuff we already know. And meanwhile, we're sitting there, that's not really true, or that's BS, or whatever. And the real conversations are happening here at the bar. And so I wanted to take those conversations at the conference and bring them back to the cubicle, back to the office with the people. 99% or more of our industry never makes it into the conference environment. They never get the experience that we have, right?
True. Yeah.
And so I wanted to bring that back, and that's the love. And then I always put it first because I always want to keep the love first, keep the people first.
Yeah. What was interesting, last year at IAM, we did a live broadcast for our coordinators and our staff from IAM, and then Pauline, my colleague, our colleague, she went around with videoing live, let's say, from the conference and meeting people, so that all the staff was able to connect and see people like, hey, this is Ben Cross, and oh, he's really alive. This is, so that was really, really cool. So that you bring indeed back to your people, because it's otherwise always the people, the salespeople, or those are the people on those locations, where at the end of the day it's the coordination in the office. It's the people on the work floor, the operation staff. They do the hard yards, and they make it work. So
yeah, totally. And then as a salesperson, I remember the feeling of going to these conferences, coming back just fired up about everything, all the opportunity, everything. And I come back like, guys, had an amazing conference, met all these people, met this crazy guy from the Netherlands, and met all these people, right? And then I'm telling them, and they're just looking at me like, whatever, like, give me another file, like, get out of my face, like, I don't care. And so I think this also gets to show people the opportunity that's out there.
Well, and people care more if they know each other. I think that is the key of meeting people and really understanding, let's say, the value of what we do, and we work together in this industry. We compete, we work together, and we partner. That's the phenomenal part of this industry, and I think that DNA we shouldn't lose, and I think that going back to your original, that's the reason why we travel. That's the reason why we meet people, because this is people industry, Ben.
Yeah, totally is. Richard says, whenever I refer people a lot to Love and Relo, I always say it's because Ben always has such a big heart and shows such love for the sector and the people in it. Thanks, Richard. That's a really great compliment. I appreciate you doing that. Richard always tunes in, even though it's like 9 o'clock at night over in London. His wife's like, come to dinner. And he's like, 1 more minute. It's getting good. Finally. I've hung in for 38 minutes. It's finally picking up here. I got to see overrated, underrated, or whatever. Anyway, love you, Richard. Appreciate you out there. Always asking comments, getting in the questions. Hey, get in the comments right now. I want to hear your questions here, your thoughts here. Mark Oakshot says changing topics. Mark's like, enough of this bullshit. All right, Mark says changing topics. As an aging mover, I'm interested in Nick's view. He's like, the rest of you guys need to shut up right now. Of applying technology in the industry. What has he learned as a younger professional?
Well, for me, one of the things I learned was, for me, technology is a no-brainer, because I grew up with technology. So it was actually a surprise that within the industry we faced so many struggles of going from pen and paper to technology. But it's a huge benefit to actually have your complete process automized and your digital inventories.
Yeah, I'm going to challenge you though, because we say technology as this catchphrase, like we say Africa as this catchphrase, but it's not necessarily like all the same. So when we say technology, what do you see as, maybe give me like 3 things that you think are really innovating or will innovate what we do and how?
Well, I think one of the we create our in-house tech. It's called Reach, our move management software, and the future prospects of that with AI. I would say that's the number one change that it will make in our day-to-day operation.
Is the AI going to be customer facing, or is it going to be back office, operations process?
Yeah, both. It will definitely help the customer with a customer portal, where you can make huge benefits, but also on the daily operation, suggestions, information. Just because I noticed it's very difficult for a move coordinator. You will understand the business after 3-4 months, and then AI can help you to understand the business after 3-4 weeks. And of course, you don't have the experience yet, but to get the broader view of it, then AI can definitely help.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, and technology is always been a big buzzword, but the real big deep dive in it, not a lot of people do. People always talk about technology, always talk about innovation, and from the DNA of our company, we've always been walking the talk. So we've always done, and we always invested, and Robert Voerman's vision was always, we need to own the technology because we need to steer the wheel ourselves, fully believing that technology combined with the right people, it's always a combination of both. That's where the future is. If we can have both, then we will be successful and are able to hand over the company and move on in the decades to come.
Well, we were talking about it the other day that COVID really helped us to improve on technology. So a virtual survey, for instance, I think we would have been where we are now without COVID in terms of technology, because then you needed to have that virtual call.
Right.
And now we can't think of doing the actual physical survey.
It's so funny with the surveys too. It's such a good example, right? I mean, video surveys were kind of not very highly thought of 5, maybe 8 years ago. 8 years ago, no way, not doing it. And now, they're probably more common than not common, I would think.
And let's say we have a big move management part of our company, and the great thing now is that our move managers have direct contact with our clients moving wherever in the world. So they will do the survey themselves with a client moving from Chile, and it's being done, the survey done out of, let's say, the Netherlands or our Czech office or whatever. The move managers will do that survey. They will have instant, let's say, an idea on who are they moving, what content are we moving. So they're much more integrated in the whole process. And it helps a lot to standardize things, but also it helps a lot at the end of the day that the customer really feels, hey, these are people really taking care of me, instead of that there is a single point of contact somewhere. No, this is a real person and he's taking care of me. And then working closely, let's say, with the OA agent or the DA agent to make it work.
Yeah, definitely. My wife just did a video survey last week.
Okay.
And
how she experienced it?
I think she liked it. I think she liked not having someone in her home. She doesn't like having people in her house. She doesn't like me being in the house sometimes. But she doesn't like people in the house. She did tell me, she's like, oh man, they had me up in the attic. They had me, in the garage. They had me, so she did it herself. Whereas presumably somebody would have got up in the attic for her and looked at that stuff. But I think overall she would prefer to do it herself and not have a stranger come in her home.
Well, it saves for both of the parties. It saves a lot of time. So for the client, they don't need to take half a day off or something, and we don't have to drive a couple of hours to do the physical survey. No, it truly saves. And you indeed see that clients sometimes say, "Oh, it's quite a funny job you have to see all these houses." And they always apologize for the mess. That's also something.
My wife. And then the coordinator was like, "Listen, I see houses all the
time."
It's like going to the doctor, right? You have to I don't care. I've seen a lot of that.
Well, and I think in these day and age, with all the things what people are requiring and requesting, the talk of the town, and when we talk to customers these days and corporate customers, big companies, it's all about the customer experience. They all talk about the customer experience, and the customer experience is in two ways. The services need to be there at a high level. That's one. But the second, also, we need to help that with easy communicating tools, with innovative solutions, and with tech helping us to deliver that, because that's what already our generation expecting. Let alone the generation which is coming now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we talked, when I got into this business, we talked about service, and it was the white glove service, and it was taking good care and wrapping things carefully and maybe taking our shoes off or things like that.
Yeah.
Now, to me, speed is service. And it's been that way probably 5 years, where the speed of getting someone a quote, the speed of getting someone on the books for the move dates that they want, how fast can you get it to destination? Those types of things have almost, I don't know if they've become more important than the other stuff, but the other stuff has just been viewed as standard, as default, as table stakes.
Well, I had I had my daughters, both of them joined this summer working in the company as helping in coordination and so on. Was their first experience, let's say, within the company and in the industry, and they were shocked till an extent, because, let's say, is it really going like this? Where they are also used, let's say, on instant. So they're like, you see something, I press a button and then beep, somebody shows up.
What do you think about what was okay, let me ask you, did they have to call customers on the phone?
Yeah, they both were calling customers.
How did they feel about calling someone on the telephone?
Well,
over here, young people just
no.
It's globally.
Globally. Also, my daughters tend to, let's say, when I call them, I would get a text back like, "Why are you calling that?" So it's like that way. Having said that, I think they are they see they have to do it. So, but that's one. But at the end of the day, it's not so scary, and it's even fun, And then my youngest daughter was working, and then she initially had to call for immigration support from the Dutch government. So she was making calls to the Dutch authorities who were involved with on the tax side of things. And then she said that, but I was very scared calling. But then I found out that these people know less than I know. So
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's like, okay.
Yeah,
so,
you're thinking, oh,
you know,
call
so,
the
yeah,
government.
so-
Oh, it's scary. You know?
yeah. So end of the day, you know, I think it's you know, pushing them also through. I think there's also a way and setting the example, you know, like Nick, you know, is there and is making calls the whole day. So so it's not. I think we shouldn't make it a generational thing either. So it's you know, let's come on, you know.
It's actually funny because in Africa, calling is the number one thing to do. They never text, but then
Really?
they would call you over one subject. They would call you 9 times, so they would ask a single question every single time, and then I would prefer texting. Yeah, no,
9 phone calls.
because they also like to be busy with their phone, like this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I had some local colleagues there, and whenever we were at the nice scenery in the nature, I made a picture of them, and they were like, wait, and they stood like this. I was like,
They're showing the phone off.
why would you? Yeah. But no, they really, yeah, it's different there. Yeah, it's really a cultural thing in Europe. Yeah.
And I think, you know, at the end of the day, Ben, you know, no deal will be made. You know, maybe on COD sales, you know, you can probably with, and that's where we're investing also firmly in booking platforms and things like that, because I think there's a bunch of things we can do in booking platforms. I think that's where the next step of this industry is going to be. But on the other side, let's say really creating long-term relationships with long-term customers, there's always going to be a need to pick up a phone.
Yeah.
You know, and there's always going to be anyway a big group of people who still likes to have personal contact.
Yeah, really interesting. I want to ask you about that. You know, where do you see the, you know, market going, and what are you doing to respond to those market shifts?
Yeah, well, I think we're in. Everybody have seen the industry. So COVID hit, and then after COVID, everybody or most everybody has seen a fantastic 2022.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year already, we saw it going back to whatever normality was. But and then this year is across the board in the Western world. You know, whether it's in North America, whether it's in Europe, you know, markets are down. You know, volumes are down. Real estate markets are down. So less transactions. So and that's not appearing to be picking up shortly. I think there's the wish dreaming of, okay, it will come on because, you know, as all economic cycles, it will come up.
Yep.
I think there's some truth in it that's always happening, let's say. And then we were talking it over in the car, you know, a good crisis could help because this industry in general, you know, if there would be a good economic crisis, you know, then normally this industry picks up, you know, because people have to or are made to move or things are shifting. But I think we're in transformative times. So I think we're really transforming. Let's say if you look at solely global mobility, I think that is really transforming at the moment. And I think the stakes go up. I think to be able to make money in that is getting more difficult. You know, we see the shrinking volume. You know, and one of the things we saw this summer. You know, and I work myself in the warehouse and on the coordination as well. Just getting a feel what's happening is, like, say, you know, we spent as much time on a shipment for 1 cubic meter, you know, than on a shipment for 100 cubic meter.
Yeah.
You know, and even that 1 cubic meter probably gets more attention because that customer wants to shift dates is difficult.
Right.
Where the 100 cubic meter we do in a week pack, and everybody, it's working and it's organized, and and we that's not sustainable in the long run for us as we do it now. You know, so we need to really change that.
You know, it's interesting you bring the effect COVID had. You know, the down, then the big pop up, and now the down again. You know, it's a lot has been written, or I've read a lot at least about, you know, how COVID impacted the continent of Africa differently, and especially, you know, certain countries really had were very lightly impacted, whereas the rest of the world was heavily impacted by it. You know, did you see a different impact, you know, during COVID and post COVID from a business levels, or has it mirrored kind of Europe and the US?
It's what you noticed is that during COVID, all the expats that were in Africa, almost all of the expats, wanted to go back home. So all the oil expats,
even though COVID was way worse at home than it was where they were. But anyway, yes.
Yeah, probably indeed. But then as soon as something happens in the world, then you want to be at your home country.
Sure.
But yeah, I said the same to my colleagues. Like, how is COVID affecting the local people here? And I said, COVID. We got Ebola, we got malaria, we just had 3 civil wars.
Yeah.
What the heck is COVID? And also it maybe it's because of the temperature or something. God knows.
It was not a big thing.
Yeah, it was definitely not a big thing.
South Africa, I think, the only country where it was more a big thing because people were staying at home, and then other problems arise, because they don't have the scale of it. But no, not really a top. Like here in Texas, was not a big topic.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah, I mean, we had, different states handle it differently, just like probably different countries handle it differently.
Yeah.
But now, this year has been a really tough year. Last year was kind of down. This year's more continued kind of down. There's pockets of growth. How has it been the last 2 years, let's say, at your, at Africa Mobility Service?
Picking up, but also Africa relies on the rest of the world. So
that's the thing about shipping, right? It has to be good on both sides, kind of.
And almost none of the decisions are made locally. So you're depending on the agent work and the decisions that are made in the West. There are some local accounts, but so if it affects the West, then you're depending on that.
Yeah.
But back to your question on how do you prepare for such a dip, then diversifying. So diversifying in countries, in commercial and logistics.
Yeah.
And these are projects that where the moving is down, we see that logistics is actually up. So
that's what we're seeing here too in the States. I mean, logistics projects and hotels, furniture, fixtures, equipment, office and industrial moving, all that kind of stuff is big growth here. But I want to ask you, you mentioned the word sustainable recently. And when I think of Voerman Group, I do think of sustainability. You really champion that. You've really been out front on that stuff. Give me an idea kind of around how you look at sustainability. And let's be honest. I mean, is shipping household goods sustainable? I mean,
good question.
It's a tough thing when our clients come to talk about sustainability. And we're like, well, we're shipping used wood all over the world.
What I see happening is a couple of things. So yes, sustainability is in the core of the company, and not only as a buzzword, but really, let's say, intrinsic. Let's say in the company and also in the top management. Let's say that we really believe, that we need to play a role there, and with what we can do, we do. Partly that's of course also driven by your clients, and we serve clients like IKEA Global, which are taking a front role, let's say, in making a change on sustainability, and they really pushed us massively to bring at the later stage, let's say, the product Ecologit came to fruition basically on the fact that IKEA was really pushing on measurements on sustainability, really wanted to know the impact of house goods shipping and relocation on programs on their footprint, and that's been really helpful on that side. But if I go back to your question, I think we as an industry are not doing a really good thing at the moment describing, let's say, sustainability in house goods moving, because a lot of people are saying, well, ship less, let's say, that is very sustainable. Well, the reality is upside down. So probably moving household goods is a more sustainable solution than buying furniture at origin and destination, because there's so much impact on that. So and we're involved in some studying on that. I think you can't say it 100% like that, because there's certain furniture, maybe never should be moved, and there's a big need also for let's say circular furniture and circular stuff. So, but in general, my comment at the moment is that house goods shipping is circular and is very sustainable.
What are things that should never be moved, in your opinion?
I think an IKEA wardrobe is not, let's say, to be moved internationally, especially not to the United States of America, where you need a third country, let's say, operator to set it up again. So the total value of the shipment and the value of the wardrobe is not in order anymore, let's say.
Yeah, well, you can't. Yeah, once you put it together, you can't take it apart. But I will say, so I'm getting ready to move on Friday of this week.
Yep.
And I have a dresser and 2 end tables from IKEA that I've had since 2006.
Cool.
That I've probably moved, well, Texas, Florida, Texas, North Carolina, Michigan, Texas, 5 times in your state, and a bunch more times locally.
Cool.
I know those 3. Now I've lost some pieces along the way. I've lost the bookshelf along the way. I've lost a couple pieces along the way. But those 3 pieces have hung with me. So I think IKEA gets a bad rap, and I think rightfully so, because you can't take it apart. it is made out of press board, you know. But
yeah, but I think IKEA plays also a great role in the world, you know, with how they flat pack. Flat pack is of course much more sustainable.
So
than,
going in, very sustainable.
No, absolutely. So
Yeah.
it's very good, and their focus around packing material and you know and follow IKEA. That's always my advice to this industry. Follow what they do, because in my view, IKEA is the biggest moving company in the world.
Yeah.
You know, they ship furniture. They have warehouses and they have trucks and everything. And it's interesting if you watch what they're doing. You know, they're a massive container use and things like that, and they have a big strategy on that. And we try to pick back on that as well. Let's say on ideas and opportunities. So yeah.
It's good to do what IKEA does. Bring meatballs to customers.
Well, and Ben, you know, sustainability, you know, I think is not going to go away.
No.
People do think that, let's say, it's now. No, you really have to have a sustainability is not only environmental. No, you got, you know, the social part of it, the government's part of it, you know, and that's only going to drive more. Where, for example, here in the US, you know, traditionally the diversity and inclusion always been a big thing here, and we see that coming over to Europe now, and you know, it's part of RFPs, it's part of what clients want, and so it's an interesting discussion. I think we're in.
Yeah, this is interesting. Mark's got a question. Mark Oakshot, what's up, Mark? Question for Ben. I finally get a question, guys.
Yeah,
wow, I'm excited. Question for Ben on sustainability. As you are closer to customers than me, will we ever see corporate accounts in the United States reflecting the same environmental demands that we see in Europe? You know, really interesting question, Mark. I look at it like this. I look at Europe leads on sustainability, especially environmental sustainability. I think the U.S. leads in a lot of ways on diversity, equity, inclusion, the social aspect of sustainability. I don't know if Europe is ever going to catch up to the United States on the diversity, equity, inclusion front. Just like I don't know the United States is ever going to catch up to Europe on the environmental sustainability front. Because I mean, I think respectively, we've kind of pioneered in some of those areas. No. That's my take on it. What are your thoughts, Wiebe?
I think it's both. So I think maybe for the intermediate time it will be like that. But I see what I see happening here, for example, on the West Coast. You know, the big tech are really onto the topic of sustainability, because they are very much part of that. You know, with the data centers and things like that. So it's interesting topic. You know, we talked about AI. You know, but getting these technologies out there. You know, Bitcoin, whatever. There's a massive impact on energy. So there's a big thing, and I see that happening also at companies at Meta or Google. You know, there's more and more on the topic of sustainability. And I think what I always love about the United States and I really admire is your adaptation to change. You know, we in Europe are not so good in changing quickly. I think in the US, you know, you guys and companies are much more easier. Okay, now we go, you know, and I think that moment could shift. I think that depends a bit on politics to an extent, but more, let's say, also I think also driven by, okay, now is the right time and now we go. So
yeah, I think I appreciate that, but I'm going to respectfully disagree with you.
No,
because and I'll tell you why. I think that you're always going to be I say you like Europe as if like, you know, the Netherlands all of Europe. Right? But this is the problem that we fall into, especially in the States. But let me tell you why. Because I think sustainability has a lot of headwinds here in the United States culturally, and I don't mean politics. What I mean is, you look at the size of the United States, and we have this amazing interstate highway system, and we are just hooked on our cars. You know, and frankly, we can't drive from where I am sitting right now to the southernmost part or the westernmost part of Texas, the state I'm in right now, in an electric vehicle. Can't do it. It would take 8 hours to drive on a high-speed highway, on a highway that was going 75 miles an hour from here to El Paso, Texas, which is the westernmost part of, or Mexico, which is the southernmost part. So I don't know that culturally we're ever going to really catch up to you guys, because we just have so many infrastructural challenges, you know. And we have this. The United States is fortunate. We have oil here. We have trees here. We have all the things we need here, so we don't need to. We're not beholden to, say, I mean, we depend on Middle Eastern oil production for sure, but we're not beholden on another country who we may not get along with for all of these things. We could theoretically self-sustain. And so our gas here is so cheap, right? Our oil is so cheap. So it's $3.50 a gallon here, whereas it may be more than that per liter.
We take 5 times more in the Netherlands.
Yeah. And so because of that, it becomes an imperative for you, whereas it's a social issue for us here, whereas it becomes a business imperative for you.
No, I agree on that one. And the size here always amazes me when traveling in the United States. It's just like traveling now for a day here in Dallas is just extreme. You know, we don't have these cities in Europe, you know, not with these highway systems. It's incredible. And that's also for me always seeing the opportunity, you know, is like, you know, whatever happens in Europe, in the US is always times 100, you know. So and I think that's the beauty of this country, and I agree. But there's also a new generation coming, and that new generation is also programmed in a different way. I think we're living in a global society which needs each other more and more. So let's see how it progresses, and innovation. You guys are also a top innovator in the world. So a lot of innovations around the topic of sustainability, you know, will be coming from the United States of America, because it's a product where you can make money.
And it's we definitely put value to sustainability, but most of the corporate accounts are US based. And they require in their RFPs, they require all these things. So on the other hand, they are improving Europe to and then of course the infrastructure and the size of this country, it makes it really difficult to improve if you look at trucks and electrical vehicles. But you can improve in digitalization and automating processes. Well,
and let's say if you look at the other topic where you just said diversity and inclusion, let's say in Europe we have the but we have all kinds of privacy legislation, you know, which we can't, you know, register, which we, you know, so it's way different than it's over here. You know, we can't ask, you know, we can't even register, you know, a nationality we can, but not, let's say, race or those type of things, or cultural or religion or those type of things. It's completely forbidden. Yeah.
But it's a no-brainer for us too. So we once received an RFP where it said in the canteen, do you have regulations where you treat people equally? And it's like, no, we don't have that, because by law it's decided that you treat people equally. So it's there's still a big difference in there.
Yeah, and it's leading by example. So it's leading, you know, it's also doing the right thing, you know, from inside out. You know, that you really feel you're intrinsic to who you are and what you want to do, also as a business.
Yeah, really interesting. Yeah, great question, Mark. Love to talk to you more about it when you come on the show. We are lacking A-list celebrities here on the show. So if Mark Oakshott wants to come on and we can talk about these things more to the point. We've got a top 5 here. We're gonna do a lightning round here. We got a top five Dutch sportsmen or women here. Okay, top 5 sporting figures. Okay. All right, we got
from all ages.
These are not events. These are actually athletes. Okay. Now, I've done some homework here.
Okay.
I tried to research some of these folks.
Yeah.
To learn what they've done.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, please.
I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying. Okay. I don't know how to pronounce their names.
Okay.
But I think I might know a thing or two about what they've done here. So maybe you can name the person and I'll see if I can remember what they've done here.
Yes.
So let's go to number 5 here. We're gonna go 5 to 1. Okay.
Yeah.
So number 5 here. How do I pronounce this name here?
But the name is Marco van Basten.
But this is too easy. Yeah. First you should try, and then Wiebe will.
Yeah, Marco van Basten, obviously.
Yeah. You know him?
Is this he was a soccer player? We say soccer. He was a football player.
Yeah.
And he's a coach as well.
He was coach. Yeah.
That's all I know.
So he was he's world famous for his goal in the European Championships, where he scored a winning goal in 1988, and I still remember where I was at that time. And he played for Ajax Amsterdam for a long time. Was top scorer in Europe.
AC Milan too, maybe.
AC Milan won won a couple of years in a row best player in the world. So in his time, he was Messi. Let's say, what is Messi and Ronaldo today? And So, and he was he probably how he played was very unique, and the only issue is that he had to stop his career rather early due to injuries. So he in those days you didn't have cameras watching you 24/7 on the pitch. How let's say defenders were attacking him.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he had some injuries where he had to stop early, and but he's in the Netherlands for sure a living legend. But people do see him worldwide, and of course we have a Dutch view on it. Let's say for us, what is called football in the Netherlands, soccer over here, is by far the biggest sports in Europe.
Yeah.
And as it is,
What's the biggest in the world? Probably. I mean, different leagues.
Well, I think it's cricket these days. With I think from
that's just because of India.
Yeah,
probably.
because of India, 1.5 million people in India.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's move on here. Number 4 here. Number 4. I'm going to try this name. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take that one. Yeah.
Fanny Blinkers Cohen.
Yeah. So
how did I do?
Yeah, it was quite alright.
You can tell me how do I say it?
Well, it was actually
Fanny
funny.
Blinkers Cohen.
Well, this is something.
Fanny Blinkers Cohen.
Yeah, but this is also a person way before.
I wasn't born back then.
I know this one.
Yeah.
She was a sprinter.
Correct.
She won 4 gold medals
Correct.
at the 1948 London Games.
You're absolutely.
It was funny because I said to Wiebe, "Who the hell is she?"
You got to brush up on your Dutch history.
Yeah, she's really historic in the Netherlands, let's say. And then, we did a top 5. It's always difficult which 5 you pick anyway. So, but she's world famous. Yeah.
Fanny Blinkers.
Yeah.
All right, try it. Number 3. Oh man, this is tough. Okay. Sifan Hassan.
Yes.
Yeah. She's. Have you watched the Olympics a little bit?
I think I know what happened here.
Yeah, she did the 5, the 10, and the marathon, and got 3 medals. And now she's the only lady to ever do it.
She won the marathon, right?
She won the marathon. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's special itself.
But
she also
10K and a marathon.
Yeah, within 100 hours, something like that. She did all those.
She's absolutely spectacular, and she's also how she communicates is so authentic, so special, and the whole of the country already fell in love with her 4 years ago when she also won 3 medals. What was at that time the 1500, the 5K, and the 10K in Tokyo. And now the marathon, and it's just absolutely phenomenal.
When I looked her up, it listed her as a middle distance runner, and I'm like, but she just won the marathon. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's technology that's being behind.
Well, she did a sprint, which she normally can do, let's say, only on the 1500 meters. But probably her last K on the Olympics was so fast, was incredible.
We do quite some running.
Yeah.
And I can never imagine to do 5, 10, and a marathon within that amount of time at the Olympics, competing against the best, and then win 3 medals. Yeah,
unbelievable. Get in the comments, hit that like button. Let's go number 2.
Yep.
Max Verstappen.
Yep.
F1 driver, top of the table.
Correct.
That's all I know.
That's all you know.
That's all. We don't watch.
Come on, Ben.
We're too busy driving our own cars.
What do you watch?
We don't watch F1. We watch American football. We watch American baseball. Watch American basketball. Watch
everything with American in front of it.
In front of it. In case,
but you guys now got Formula 1 in Miami. You got Formula 1 in Vegas, in Austin. So you got 3 races this year.
So loud. Honestly, it's very loud. I got loud kids at home. I don't need to go loud somewhere else. It's very loud. Have you been to an F1 event?
I've been once to an F1 event, but
what was it like?
Loud.
Loud, right?
Yeah, it's loud. It's let's say it's not my favorite. Let's say sport.
So you're trying to get me to watch it over here?
Well, at least you should know the guy.
But the difference is Max Verstappen as a person is also phenomenal.
Okay.
And if we now rank top 5, Max Verstappen for sure is in it. He made the most money of any sportsman or women in the Netherlands anyway, also at a young age, and he's very disciplined, very focused, and a true legend. Yeah, already at a very young age.
That's awesome. Number 1. This one's gonna mess me up. Johan Cruyff.
Yeah, and Dutch we say Johan Cruyff.
Cruyff.
Yeah.
Johan Cruyff. Okay. Footballer won the Ballon d'Or.
Yep.
1971, 1973, 1974.
Yep.
Maybe.
Yep.
And they named a stadium after him.
Correct.
Yeah, that's
all I know.
in Amsterdam, the stadium. Well, he's basically one of the best, maybe the best football player to ever exist.
Yeah.
And he's very identical in his one-liners that he had. He said the best form of defense is attack. You know, you always have to score one more goal than your opponent. All these simple things,
Right.
but you can reflect to your daily business too.
And he was always the one, let's say, when you were internationally, people would know Johan Cruyff. If they said Netherlands, they would say Johan Cruyff, because he was kind of the first athlete, which was really an export product for the Netherlands. Really, globally, people were seeing him, and he was, let's say, recognized everywhere. And phenomenal coach, phenomenal, guy. So
Mark saying the Cruyff turn. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's his special move that he invented. It's like just a special move how to outpass defense.
Yeah,
the Cruyff turn. Yeah, I'm happy Mark at least knows it. And,
yeah, but Mark is a soccer player. He's supporting a small team. I don't know even the name, but it's on the second or the third league in England.
Mark, who's your team? Who do you support?
Gil something or so. And then I know he's watching that on Saturday on a live stream. So he's watching from his home in Chicago. Then the live stream, he's watching what's going on in the UK. Yeah.
So you watch a lot of sports?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and you're also in this because I have one buddy that has lived in the States, and every time, because for us, when the NFL starts, it's 3 p.m. for us.
Sure.
And then he does this online. You can make your online team and you're betting. And,
fantasy football.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So you do too.
Yeah, we do some fantasy. Although this year, I'm in the IAM league. I'm in the IAM.
Oh, cool.
League, and the money goes to benefit the scholarship fund.
Okay.
So that's my only league right now. Maybe I can get one more in before we kick off the year.
Okay.
And what's your team, Ben?
Dallas Cowboys, the America's team.
Yep.
The Dallas Cowboys, the most valuable sports franchise in the world across any sport, including the Premier League.
Really?
Yeah, it's $8 billion. Yeah, they're big time. They're big time. You gotta go check them out.
Everything's big here. Yeah.
Everything's big. Our budget's everything. Have you had a chance to go see the stadium yet? In Arlington?
No.
Even in Frisco, the practice facility is fantastic.
No, I drove by the facility once at the stadium.
Yeah.
And we
got to get you in there.
No, we need to get it on the list. So next time we're let's do that.
Well,
let's do it.
In 3 years, you're hosting the World Cup, and what I like about that is you already got like 5 huge stadiums per state at least.
Oh yeah.
Well, even way more.
I think they're playing in Dallas.
Not the finals. The semifinal will be here.
Yeah.
Okay. The finals will be in New York, I think. Or less.
Yeah.
And we're also hosting the Olympics, but not here. Most of it's gonna be in California.
Yeah, LA.
That will be fun. The Olympics.
It will be. Mark says Super Gillingham, top of the league.
Yeah.
Which league?
Oh, they're owned by Americans these days. So
all the good ones are. Yeah. What do you think about that? How the Americans are coming and buying up the clubs over there?
I think it's they look at it from an investment point of view, and I think if you. I think there's some sentiment about it because let's say there's no reason to if you buy a football club except for the UK, but how to make money out of that is impossible in countries like the Netherlands. So you can't make money out of a football club, but in England you can, because in England the money you get there from television rights and is really in the billions. So over there, and the marketing value of like Liverpool or Manchester United across the world, and it's a massive sport in China. So in China, every weekend, millions and millions of people are watching, and they buy these shirts and stuff and the merchandise. So then it's worthwhile.
Have you seen this? Welcome to Wrexham. This Wrexham United, this Welsh team, I think it is. That's was bought by the American actors Ryan Reynolds and the other guy. And they bought it and they took it up. They jumped 2 leagues now, I think. Yeah, I don't think are they in the Premier League? I don't know.
Or they just won down there or so, but they're really up there. Yeah,
they're climbing. Through some investment. They've got TikTok as a sponsor. They've got their gin as a sponsor.
Yeah,
so they're trying to make a run of it. So
that's typical American, right? To
increase it, do well in business. Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Totally. This is great. I love the banter. This is great, Paul Conrad. I know those guys, great people. Paul Conver checking in.
Good guy.
Good to see you, Paul.
Yeah.
Let's get into the overrated, underrated. I said there's going to be a lightning round. Let's get into the overrated, underrated because we can. Don't talk about Wrexham or am I switching off? Mark says, why? Mark, I got a question. Why is that such a trigger for you? Please let me know.
Emotions.
Yeah, what's the emotion? Or is that your team? Or are you just mad because they're doing well? Which would make you a hater. All right, let's go here. Overrated, underrated. Number one. You guys know how to play the game?
No, not really, but I know. But we will follow your rules. So
all right, I have 2 rules.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a topic.
Yeah.
You get to pick if it's either overrated or underrated.
Yeah.
That's all. Those are only 2
No,
options.
we'll be fine.
Don't overthink
Yeah.
it. Okay. And then the second is I'm going to tell you if you're right or wrong.
Okay.
All right. There we go. Let's go. All right. And first one up is working together at the office. I'm going to defer to the younger man here, Nick Voerman.
I would say currently that's underrated. So you got to say am I right or wrong?
I'm going to wait until we get Wiebe's answer and then.
Yeah, 100% underrated.
No, it's underrated. I think that there's a benefit. Let's say working from home, there is a benefit to it, but I think that is blurring the fact that working together as a team in an office has much more value. I think long term.
Yeah, I would agree. I really would agree. I mean, that's why we're here. It's not easy, you know. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. You got to overhead, right? You got to find people that are willing to do it. You can only recruit locally. You can't recruit nationwide or globally.
True.
So there's a lot of challenges, but I think the benefits outweigh the challenges.
Well, I think that the fundamentals lay in working together, seeing each other. I mean, now you hear people in the industry that work from home for the past 5-6 years since COVID, but at least they got to experience working in the office before.
Yep.
As nowadays, with my generation, for example, if they directly start working from home, then they never got a sense of the office, the company culture, the people, your colleagues.
I don't know how they do it, never having worked in an office.
Oh,
it's one thing to know how to work, know how to get up, prepare yourself, you know, your self-start or whatever.
Yeah.
If you've never had that experience,
it's but it's the smaller things. Grabbing coffee for each other, knowing what your colleagues value.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't see. It must be really depressing if you would ask me.
Yeah,
absolutely
challenging. All right, 1 point. This is good. You're on the roll here. All right, next one up. Necessity of coffee.
Yeah, for me it's overrated.
Coffee's overrated.
No, for me it's underrated.
Underrated.
No. I think there's 2 ways to the answer, but I think it's overrated in the sense that, let's say, too much emphasis on coffee. But we still like a good coffee.
Like a good coffee to start the day.
Yeah.
How many cups of coffee do you drink every day?
So there's a good, interesting story.
And the question is, what size cup?
I was about to say.
No.
You probably
like a little.
I like good coffee, and then I drink 3 cups of coffee a day, but then over the whole day.
Yeah.
And that's something we learned from. We have special health programs in our company, and a company which is helping us with that came in and they analyzed, let's say, also the behavior, and one of the advices they gave to us was, let's say, you guys need better coffee in the office. And the reasoning was, let's say, if you have better coffee, people drink less. So and that's really true, and we've seen that now because we have really good coffee. We had 3 coffee companies presenting their coffee to our staff, and the staff could choose which coffee, and then we choose that coffee. And now people are really enjoying the coffee and drink less, which is
why was it
a positive
important
benefit.
To drink less though?
Well, we did a analysis of the whole company. Let's say everybody on a health check, and then what you see happening also in a company like us, high blood pressure, all kinds of things. Let's say which are connected to also drinking too much coffee is not good. Let's say not good getting a lower. Let's say blood pressure, so and quality of life. So it was interesting advice, and so drink good coffee. That's my advice to the moving world instead of too much.
Yeah, I mean this whole coffee, like don't talk to me before I've had my coffee thing, I do think is overrated. I think if you're like that and you like don't talk to me before I've had my coffee, you're probably not getting enough sleep.
Yeah,
I think actually water can actually help you a lot too, and people underestimate,
True.
water to wake you up. Even hot water, a lot of people rave about hot water in the mornings. That's very popular in like Asian cultures too, and Indian cultures.
Well, it's actually the cold water that you get here with all the ice cubes in it, then it's actually not that good for your body.
No.
You should rather drink warm water.
Yeah.
Warm water and then tomato juice, fresh tomato juice.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Okay.
No.
We'll learn a lot. All right. Overrated it is. So I don't know who had that. Who had overrated? You both did. There. 2 points. Fine. Being easy over here. All right. Next one. Holidays, short break, work healthy. These are a lot of separate issues here. We're gonna pick one here. Well, holidays aren't short over there, are they? Your holidays are quite long.
Compared to
We
the
take
US.
holidays on Monday off for us.
No, I agree. We have, let's say, our staff depends per country because it's based on country rules. But let's say on average in the Netherlands, the staff will have between 5 and 6 weeks.
At least, working days. So that means
working days. 25,
42, 42 working days excluding weekends. So
42 working days. So divide by 5, and that's like 8 weeks. That's like 8.
Yeah, it is big.
That's 2 months.
Yeah, and you see that people don't get to.
I forget your name. I don't know what you do here anymore. We actually have found somebody. That's what I'd say.
So we keep working till we're let's say the pension age now is 67 out in Europe. So I don't know what's here in the US at the moment, but
it's like 66 and a half.
Okay, so it's similar. Yeah.
Something like that, 65 and a half, something like that. I don't know. We're just gonna work till we die here. I mean, that's kind of.
Well, in the States, you have 10 working days, right? Or...
2 weeks is typical. Yeah, 2 weeks. So 10 working days, or maybe or maybe 14. I mean, 2 weeks. There's been a push towards 3, and then we get all the government holidays off as well. So federal holidays.
Yeah.
So, but we don't get like 2 months. I mean, so you have a situation where your kids are out of school for 2 months, and you're working. So.
Well, do you also see the trend here in the US that people want to work less than 40 hours a week? That people want to work 4 days, 3 days?
4 days. So, but the way they pitch it is 4 days on 4 10-hour days. That's the way
they pitch it.
They pitch it.
Yeah.
No, I'll work 10 hours though.
Yeah.
Okay, but the rest of us are working 8, so you're just going to work without us. Okay.
The pitch in Europe is for 4 days, 9 hours. That's a little.
And does that include the lunch or not?
Well, that's a good question.
Because there was a song here back in the 80s called "Working 9 to 5."
Hey.
Dolly Parton. I'm working 9 to 5. Okay, but it's like, okay, does that include a lunch? Because now you're only working 35 hours.
Yeah.
I'm terrible. I don't know.
We had job interviews of the younger generation, and they said, on the initial application, they said, I'm going to work full time. And then, okay, what's considered full time? That's now a question during the job interview. And they said 30 hours.
So that wouldn't qualify for benefits here in the United States. You need to work at least 32 hours.
Yeah. So that's
medical benefits.
Well, we see the negative of it because people are not working full time anymore. It's getting much more difficult also to get a loan for buying a house. So mortgages is also based on what you earn. If your fixed earnings are not at the right level, then you can't get the loan. So it's an interesting and. But we don't see it changing at the moment. So we see in the Western world, it's not only in the Netherlands, but it's throughout, let's say, Western Europe. There's the new generation don't want to work apparently. Although I teach my daughter something else, but
even on
I'm a firm believer that those people who work the hardest and make the efforts, I think, will strive and will succeed.
Well, it's so true too. I see this all the time. People retire and they die. They just kind of a few years later, they're just they're not getting out as much, they're not walking as much, they're not getting the human interaction as much. I'm not saying you should work forever, but I mean you need something to keep you going. I feel
you need a purpose in life to to get you going, to get you out of bed.
And if moving used furniture is not that purpose, I don't know what's wrong with you.
True. Yeah, 100%.
Well, let's go overrated, underrated holidays. Okay, this is the topic. Overrated, underrated holidays.
So I think from a US perspective, I would say very much underrated, because you guys don't do enough. Because I do believe that you need time off to switch off to really get going again. So I would say 2-3 weeks in the US is too less, let's say, to really rewind and really re-energize.
I would say underrated too, because you get a lot of energy out of just a couple of days off, a week off, a travel like this. Just being outside of the business and take some time for your personal development, 100% underrated.
What's the most time you've ever taken off at one time?
Me. 4 weeks.
4 weeks. What about you?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2.5
Yeah,
weeks,
yeah.
something like
You're
that.
you're still trying to make a name for yourself. Already.
Yeah, exactly. If I
So he
would,
takes 4 weeks off.
But
Okay.
he's still
He's
a
got a name.
youngster.
He's got a name.
So,
Anyway, but you took 4 weeks off. Let me ask you, when you came back from that 4 weeks, how did that feel? Like, did you even remember how to log into your computer?
So that was in, and that's been a while ago. But let's say that was like, the first week.
The first week.
No,
he's
but
like,
I live. No, I,
He's like, I don't even.
I live a little bit a different style. I think these days, and more conscious than I did, let's say 10 years ago when I had the break. And then at that time you were just speeding, and then before you went to your holiday, you came almost completely exhausted. You went to your holiday.
Yeah.
Then you need almost the first week, and then I had still a young family. You need to recoup, let's say, on and you're not having a holiday because you're just, let's say, getting your oxygen level back.
Yeah.
And then you start a little bit enjoying it the second week, and then the third week is really, and then the fourth week you're already preparing going back. So, but that week that was really, really nice. I think if I look ahead, let's say for whatever the next decade to come, I think my kids are slowly getting out of the house. That is the time also to travel more, but also to, maybe switch off a little bit longer periods or different periods. And I think a sabbatical in some shape or form can be very healthy to do.
Yeah.
If you want to sustain in this industry, and my goal is to be working here till I'm 70, 75. Be involved, but do that in a different format and a different style. And if you want to do that healthy, I think. And we've seen, this industry by default, and if you look at it, it's not too healthy. There are people dying too young at age. We see people falling away too early, and I think that makes us also, think and realize, to take care of yourself.
Talks about people dying, and he looks at me like a lot of go hard. He's like, listen, take care of yourself.
Yeah, good luck.
Sheesh. Drink less coffee. All right. So yeah, I think it's underrated, I guess. 2 weeks is not a lot. 2 weeks is not a lot to it. And by the time and especially with you guys, you're going to other countries. Like you go on a holiday, you're going to go to Portugal or something like that. By the time you get there, it takes you a couple of days to get there, settle in, a couple of days to get back. So I mean, you need chunks of time. So I agree with that. Let's keep it moving here. Teams calls in the same office. I gotta tell you, we're guilty of that here.
Yeah, really? In this office?
Well, I'm gonna explain myself, but you go ahead and answer the question. Teams call in the same office. No, I'm gonna explain myself first. Teams call in the same office. We have colleagues in Brazil. We have colleagues in India.
Yep.
We've had colleagues from time to time, like up in the Northeast, like the New York area. So while half of our team might be here in the office, the other half might be somewhere else.
Yeah.
So what do? Do you just have you all sit in one room together and put them up on the conference and then they have a terrible experience? They can't hear anything, see anything. They're missing the side conversation.
Yeah.
I'm nudging him like, you see what she's playing? Whatever. And it's like, so they miss out on the side stuff, So how do you do it?
So I think, two things to the question. I think what we really don't want is what is then overrated, let's say, is people within an office doing Teams calls, that people really don't take the effort to walk to each other anymore. That we've seen that behavior also, like, oh, it's so easy. No, that's, we want to have it. That's why you come to an office, not to.
Yeah, exactly.
The second thing, what we don't want is, let's say, that people come to an office to Teams calls. That's also, and we realize sometimes you have to have a Teams call or whatever, but don't go to the office to do 8-hour Teams calls. That's
it's
not
Teams calls, but also team chats. It's like, hey, can you do this, this, and this? And rather than you walk literally 20 seconds, and then you have to chat with the initial person.
Yeah. But of course, let's say, I think Zoom meetings, team meetings brought a lot of positive as well, in speeding things up. So and getting global teams more connected to their colleagues.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I mean, a call with people in the same office and that's it. You definitely want to get in the room with people. There's so much that can be missed with body language. Say, body language is 70% of a communication. So you're missing that. And then if you're just doing the chats, I mean, you're missing even the facial, are they smiling when they say it? Are they looking serious?
Yeah.
So there's a lot that can be read into it. So I think this is definitely, I think it's overrated, but I still struggle with the hybrid team and what the best way to tackle it is.
The hybrid team,
that's challenging.
Yeah, so we have also teams, people working on the same account, let's say, in 2 or 3 different offices. That's working.
But say it's a 6-person call. 3 are in other offices.
Yeah,
3 are in the same office.
I would say do at least one call with 3 people that you can see on one camera. You can see that, hey, my 3 colleagues are actually together in the office. Because we notice the Voerman Group has entities all over the world. Sometimes they don't even know that, oh, he's based there. Oh, he's based there. So we try to have those team calls together with another entity.
Yeah.
But at least sit down together. And then, you get all the gear. You get all your...
And we do once in a while, let's say, also educational calls for all staff or all coordinators. So that's good, Then you have all the move coordinators from around the world, in the same call. And we do a lot of educational sessions these days where we invite agents to speak to all of our coordinators at once, So US-based companies, for example, coming in and they present what they are doing or talk about a specific topic, and that's been very successful during COVID. And that's what we're still replicating today, not in the season, but off season, we do every 2 weeks. We introduce a partner or somebody else on a topic for all our coordinators.
Makes sense. Overrated. It is. Last one up here is importance of company culture. We're just say company culture, overrated or underrated.
Well, it's easy answers.
It's a no-brainer.
No-brainer.
We'll put this
But
up.
I'm going to ask you. This is terrible. I'm going to ask you this though. What the hell is company culture even mean? You say it all the time.
Well,
what is it? What does it even mean?
I think for us it's the why. Why do you work for this company? Why do you believe in this company? Why do you stand up every morning to do what you do? To really have a purpose, and that purpose comes from within the culture, because you want to work for somebody for the greater good. And I can make it emotional or bigger, but I think at the end of the day you want to work for the company, the people, and create something for yourself to make the better place or a better something. So I think that's where culture comes in, and it's very important, and that you also have kind of this is where I'm working for, and this is why we do it, and how we do it.
Shout out to Ben Sukia in the comments here. Get in the comments, hit that like button. Let us know what you think about company culture. A lot of people say company culture, and they use it as an excuse not to give people other things like pay, time off. They say, oh, but our culture is great, right? Like, I mean, that's one of the things you hear on the recruiting side is, So
okay.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think we really trying to follow what we stand for and what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Do we make mistakes? For sure we'll do. But I think in general, I think we really strive, we want to people first, colleagues first. This is, we invest in people. People within the company have personal budgets for personal growth. So we give people also days off to work on their personal growth in our company. Just that's because cool. It's helping them to get a better person and develop themselves, which at the end of the day is good for the company because it can develop.
That's actually funny how people already are employed for like 30, 40 years within our company. And now it's scientifically proven to take a 5-minute walk outside, to stand up every now and then. All our desks are flexible desks, so you can work standing or sitting down. But I would say
these are flexible desks too,
Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, nice.
Okay, there you go.
Oh, hey, modern.
But this is still a button. We have to turn it around physically.
You're doing more work. More work.
But I would say raising a wage or giving more holidays, that shouldn't be your first goal of a company culture. No, it can come along, but it's definitely not our main interest.
One interesting one with us is at the moment we have bring your dog to the office, so people can bring their dog to the office, and on any given day, there will be 7 or 8 dogs running around in the office. So that's
who's got the biggest dog in the office?
The biggest dog in the office.
I think I have.
We have.
Yeah,
I think the Voerman dog is the biggest. At least the loudest also. So,
loudest, biggest. It's a Labradoodle.
Okay.
But we initially thought we bought a small one, and then it became a medium one, and then it became a large one.
That's great.
So my mom wasn't too happy, but great dog.
That's awesome.
Mom is the boss. So
Well, people are saying it sounds like a great company to work for. Thank you, Ben Sukis. Nice suit, Benjamin. Thank you, Ben. Hope your baby's doing well. Shout out to you and your wife. That's awesome. Let's close this thing out. We've been going 90 minutes strong, guys.
Oh, cool.
I know, right?
But we have one question for you, of course.
I thought I was going to get off safe here.
No, because you're going to go for your move. So I just wanted to know, are you you're fully fine because you organize it well. You have movers doing it, so you're cool. But the missus back home, she's also cool.
Gosh. Oh my gosh, cool. She also cool. She's better when I'm not around.
Okay.
I think
that's for most marriages.
I think I like to solve things, and I think that causes a problem.
Okay.
But no, she's coming along. I think one of the problems with having a full service move is you don't have any outlet for the pent up energy and nervous energy that you have, right?
Yeah.
So you want to do something because you're getting ready for the move. So I have to do something. It's like, no, let the Packers handle, let the movers handle.
Yeah.
But I gotta do something.
The best thing to do is just take a break and go for a 1 day trip somewhere else.
Yeah. So what she's been doing is she's been decluttering a lot. We've been donating a lot of clothing, both our clothing and our kids' clothing to charities. We've been donating a lot of books to charities.
Nice.
We've been selling some of our smaller furniture and items and things like that.
So you're decreasing the volume.
Yeah, so we're decreasing the volume and trying to sell some of that stuff and get rid of it just anyway. Really, it's not about the money. It's just like, let's send this somewhere.
It's the right time to do it. Moving is the perfect time to do that.
Exactly.
And I wonder for you as the business inside out right now, then do you look at this whole process with your note block and make notes every single time about process? And
what I do is the way I write things down is I make posts on LinkedIn. So what I do is people think that I make posts for them, and I don't. I make posts for me to remember. So I write it down. It's like journaling almost. So I say it for them. Yeah. So there's that, and we're fortunate too. We got sponsors for the move. So we've got EE Ward, which is the oldest continuously owned African American company in the United States, 143-year-old company. They're doing our move. It's a 2-day pack, Wednesday, Thursday, and then moving us Friday. We've got CMS doing our third-party services because movers don't do anything.
No. That's the United States specific.
That's right. They're taking the TVs off. They're capping off the washing machine and the water line in the fridge and all that kind of stuff. And then we've got I think I've got college hunks hauling junk coming out, taking some of the junk away.
Cool.
In there, and then we've got Dilla's Quesadillas catering lunch for the movers.
Hey.
So we got all the sponsors coming in. So shout out to our sponsors making it happen. And then we're gonna live stream it on Thursday.
Oh, cool! Really a live stream on
Thursday.
No pressure for the movers.
Yeah, no pressure. We're gonna interview the driver. We're gonna interview all the principals at the companies and everything. And,
nice.
And they're gonna tell me how I wait till the last second to plan. I should know better. I have way too much stuff for my small family. So,
good luck, my friend. And we will be watching the show because maybe we can learn from it from a European perspective how the Americans are doing that.
I'm also going to have my real estate agent there as well.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about buying a new house and everything in this kind of market with interest rates being high.
Yeah. Well, it's an example.
The full package.
But you are moving, so that's a good signal to the industry at large. Let's move, guys.
I think it's
a
great time to buy a house right now. Interest rates are starting to come down. Prices have softened because interest rates have been high.
Yeah.
So prices have softened due to affordability. So there's actually a lot of houses and inventory out on the market right now. It's a great time to buy because you just date the rate, you marry the house. So you can always refinance 2 years from now. So I would highly recommend to buy now.
I like that one. You date the rate, you marry the house.
That's right.
Well, do well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks everybody. Appreciate you being here. Tomorrow is Tuesday. We're off, but Wednesday we're actually interviewing the president of Serva in Fort Wayne, Indiana, live on site. And then Thursday we're gonna be live from my move here in Dallas, moving across town. But it's gonna be great, doing a full pack. So you'll get to see that in my house and all the crazy trash and everything that's around it. It's gonna look like a bomb hit it, but it's gonna be a professional handled move. So can't wait to see you there. Thanks everybody for getting in the comments. I will see you on Wednesday.